like I said, the radar work was very nerve-wracking. We did a lot of things at night. We also ran refueling missions because, again, the fighter squadrons need to be able to do the things that they need to do. So since we were out in the desert and the F-16 squadron was right on that base as well, we practiced refueling missions. And of course, when you're given a refueling mission, again, your tanker is just up here, and the tanker is just flying around in circles. And so basically, you just guide those planes up to connect to the refueling tanker, and then give them the instructions and everything. And so, unfortunately, we did lots of work at night because that was the time that they could really focus. And so, you know, you may be doing running, 24 hours. We never did that. Normally, our base operations were, normal parts of the day. But occasionally, we'd have the whole day off and then run refueling missions at night. The one thing, if we weren't running missions or anything, then we were studying because you had, like I said, you had to stay current on all of the different aircraft systems, everything about that aircraft system, so that you could assist the pilot flying that plane. Knowing how much fuel he had, how far he could go, how fast is that plane at maximum acceleration, and all the different altitudes that those planes function at differently. How fast can it maneuver? How fast can it get from point A to point B? I also learned all of the radio alphabet. Instead of the regular alphabet, it's like alpha, beta, Charlie, the call signs for the alphabet. And so, all of us had a top secret security clearance because you learned everything about those specific aircraft. And, you wanted to be, if you had ever, like if you were in Vietnam or something like that, then you could have been kidnapped, and they would try to get that information from you. But when we weren't running and being busy for the entire day, then we studied. What is somewhat interesting too is that weapons controllers have been assigned to the Air Defense Command, and then tactical bases or tactical commands are mobile ones. And I was the first female to be assigned to a tactical air command. Okay, so as a member of TAC, I belong to the 607th Tactical Air Command, and our base at Luke Air Force Base was like I said, a mobile squadron, which it was kind of a canvas Quonset. It was totally portable. And we nicknamed it the Rubber Ducky. We called it the Rubber Ducky because it's all made of canvas and these huge storage units. So these sections were all connected together, and then the canvas came out of the top and then was inflated, and then you connected it to another container on this side. And you can see there's several of those containers sitting beside each other. And these canvas pieces are zipped together. So one of the things as a TAC squadron was that within 24 hours notice, our squadron had to tear everything down, remove all the radar scopes, take away all of the information on the inside of it. We had huge boards with the map of the United States and the world on the other portions. And so this was all lighted up. And so what happened was, if we had been mobilized, we would take all that stuff down, remove the canvas, deflate it, pack it in these huge containers. We had to be prepared and trained to take all of this down, put it in a truck or a C-130. If, let's say we got orders to go to Vietnam, we had to be able to take all that down, pack it all up, take it to wherever we needed to do, get it reassembled, get up and running within 24 hours. So about once a year, we would practice this. And since we were out in the desert in Arizona, rather than pack all this stuff in a C-130 and move it somewhere, we put it in trucks. So we had a routine, had the operations prepared, organized to pack all this up, put it in several huge trucks and move it, and then we'd move to another spot in the desert, put everything back together. So it was a little bit like, okay, we're pretending that we're going to go to war, and but we didn't, you know. I was never deployed anywhere, and so, but it was interesting because we had to practice this, and you have to be prepared, and that's, of course, the total thing with the military is to be prepared. A lot of our missions were, we'd go into the base, into the rubber ducky in the morning, we'd have a briefing, they'd tell us, well, today we're gonna run missions, you know, and have specific names, and so we would practice that. We would practice that all the time. And when I went to special training, TACT, the base at Luke was my first permanent base, but I had gone to weapons controller school in Florida, and in Florida, that's the school that is set aside for just training weapons controllers. And that was at Tyndall Air Force Base, Florida, and it's on the Panhandle on the west side of Florida. Beautiful base, located on the white sand beaches of that area, and this is the weapons controller school, and that is still in existence. That's the only base that now still trains weapons controllers, and that was the big radar facility. Luke, I lived in the officer, or in the just the base housing. Again, it was just a huge dormitory where all of us had apartments. It was just a real simple little apartment, one bedroom. My living room, kitchen, and everything was all together in one room. I had a little kitchenette on the side of one wall, and simple little one bedroom with a bath. I lived with by myself, and most of the other women that were in the officer quarters were nurses that were at the base hospital. One of the other gals that was in our squadron had an apartment off base. It was fun because sometimes there were several of the officers that would get sent on temporary assignments, and a lot of their wives didn't like being alone, and so I would spend the weekends with them. I did a lot of dog sitting because sometimes the wives would want to go ahead and go meet their husbands, and so I got to be a pet sitter and a house sitter to those that lived off base. So that was fun because I really got to be close friends with a lot of people. What really was nice too was I'm still friends with one of the ladies. Her husband Bill was always getting sent TDY, and so she had a small son, and so she'd always invite me to come out, and if there were times that she could go, I would take care of their Samoyed. They had a beautiful white Samoyed, and I really fell in love with that dog. So I learned a lot. I really learned a lot about courtesy, respect. Yes, sometimes the rules and the regulations are a little ridiculous, but yet they're there for a reason. You learned a lot of discipline. How to, I learned to spit shine my shoes, and how to use masking tape to get everything clean on my uniform. I didn't want to have any hair hanging on my uniform or anything like that. And so what I really felt great about too is I developed a true sense of patriotism. I didn't do anything glamorous or heroic, but you do develop a huge respect for the American flag, that is treated properly. One of my big thrills every Saturday morning was to march in those base parades, our parades. At times there's just a lot of, tragedies and things going on in the world, but you really develop an appreciation for all the freedom that you have here. I did get to see, there were times, of course, when we would take part in base ceremonies where we'd have the flyover, the 4 jet planes, and the fingertip formation flying over. I love air shows to the day where, everything is so precise, and it's a huge thrill to see those planes flying. Most of the guys in our flight that were going to officer training at the same time that I was were going to be either pilots or navigators. And I know that Leslie, this one here, she was going to go into counterintelligence. But the military does present lots of opportunities for women. Like I said, I was the first woman to be in the TAC squadron. I guess that there's women that are in very, very dangerous jobs now, and I don't know if I could have done that. I really don't. But you do develop a huge appreciation for and respect for those that really get out there and fight. Funny things that happened. Just as part of it, one of the things that we had to learn to do was to shoot a .38 pistol. And being a farm girl, I knew how to shoot a shotgun and how to shoot a rifle, but I had never shot a handgun before. So they took all of the squadrons to the firing range, and we're all given a .38 pistol, and we're given a box of ammo with 100 bullets, and we're given all these instructions, and we're fitted with the ear protectors and everything, and we got done with firing, and we got all finished. We went into the one place at the run training area, and the head of it said, well, he said, there's some of you that did really well for never having fired a pistol before, and so he said, in fact, there's one that we should give a marksmanship medal, but he said, because this is a training situation, I can't count it towards a marksmanship medal. But he said, officer trainee Nuss shot 98%. I had 98 holes in my target.
That's impressive.
And anyway, it was kind of funny because all the people in my flight. So then they started calling me Annie Oakley, Annie Oakley. So we're on the bus going back towards the dorms and the base, on the base there, and they're teasing me and they're calling me Annie Oakley. Well, when we get back in, there was two of the gals in our squadron, and they said, well, we hate to tell you this and burst your bubble, but Rena Corley was on one side of me and Linda was on the other side of me, and both of those women told me that they, when they were shooting with their eyes closed. They were so scared that they just couldn't stand to hear the pistol, and so they were shooting with their eyes closed. So they said, more than likely, some of the bullets that are in your target were from our pistols. So we kind of had a good laugh about that. It was kind of funny, but it's like, okay, maybe they were and maybe they weren't. But anyway, I didn't get my medal, but I learned a lot about people as well. People from different sections of the United States act differently, behave differently. I think that we all, the amount of time that you are in the officer training was so intense, and I don't think any of us expected to make lifetime friendships there. We were just had a job to do and just wanted to move forward and get our training over with. You have once I got to the 607th, now that was a group that really, you knew that you might be there for several years, and so that was the neat thing. I really enjoyed everything about being in the military. Like I said, I learned a lot and developed a true sense of patriotism. It makes me feel so differently when I see the flag, and so it's one of those times where you take everything and you learn from it, and it makes you a better person.